Hi, good morning. Oh, let me go close that door. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire Your podcast. This is episode 614, and we are live in Southwest Florida. I'm Kristin Omdahl, and we're in my beautiful tropical backyard. It's been raining, and that's why everything looks so lush and green. If you're joining me live, please say hello. If you end up watching the recorded version, please also feel welcome to say hello. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Joe. Hi, Lisa. Good morning. Hi, Melanie and Christine, Thea. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Rita. Hi, Sharon and Judy and Petra. Hi, Constance. Hi, Kim. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Juanita. Thank you. I hope you're well too. Hi, Judy and Melissa. Hi, Diane. Good morning, everybody. So happy to see so many familiar names. If you're new, we'd love to hear from you as well. Everybody's friendly here. Migdalia, Lorraine, Christine. Thank you for joining live, everybody. Yes, Christine recognized I'm wearing the Meshberry top today. Hi, Joan. Good morning. Hi, Sean. Hi, Val. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. Hi, Joyce. This is episode 614, and we are live in my beautiful, tropical, and rainy backyard. Hi, Melanie and Geraldine. But doesn't the rain make the colors pop? Like, oh my gosh, look at how lush all the greens are behind me. I get so excited about color, you know that. Hi, Kathy, or hi, Catherine, or Katie, not sure. Hi, Judy, good morning. Hi, Teresa and Sandra. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, I brought out a few patterns to talk about today and I've already linked all the patterns in the video description and in the patterns that I'm going to talk about today. I have linked all of the pattern pages in the video description and in the fixed comments on the video. So if you would like to check them out, they're there. These were patterns that used to be printed patterns for $2.99, and I have converted them to digital patterns instead, and they're now only $1.99. And so the first one that I'm going to talk about is the one I'm wearing, and this is the Meshberry top. And I know a lot of people have made it. What I wanted to show is how cute it looks over one of those slim Amazon dresses with the stretchy belt. I feel like it looks so put together with a looser crochet top that's sheer over a slim fitting dress with the belt. I think that this is such a cute look. I love this. And like you already know, I'm not comfortable at my current weight, so sometimes I find it really difficult to decide, do I cover up or do I still show my shape? And so I think that this is a way to feel comfortable because you have layers on, but still show your shape. I think you'll always look more flattering showing your shape than trying to cover it up, regardless of what size you're at. And so I feel like a looser outlayer over a slimmer underlayer with the belt that blouses it up and gives waist definition, I think that this is an extremely flattering look. If I back up enough, I think you can see how long the skirt is. It's just below my knee. And I'll take this off so you can see what the top looks like without the belt. Now you could also size, I mean, this looks cute like this too, for sure. Because that layer underneath is slim fitting, it really gives it really is very flattering to wear a sheer layer over the top. Sheer meaning because there's so many holes in it. This is an incredibly easy pattern too. The pattern includes charts and written instructions for lots of sizes, and there is a video series on how to make it too. But what I was going to say is that you can size up and make it an oversized piece too. I'm wearing the smallest size right now, which is probably 36 inches, which you know I like negative ease in my clothes anyways. But If you size up, you could make it into a beach cover-up really easily too, or make it an oversized top or an oversized dress. You could continue the length on this to make it longer into a dress. You could skip the sleeves. This is a top-down raglan shaped yoke. So I came back and added the sleeve, which means you could make this 3/4 length or long sleeve as well, or you could omit the sleeves altogether and it would just be a cap sleeve. So there are lots and lots of options. You could add color to it. You could do color blocking or color striping. So many different ways you could take such a simple pattern and still modify it in lots of ways. And that's the theme of today's episode. We're going to talk about existing patterns and maybe some features of the patterns, but also how I'm looking at them to recycle the stitch pattern in these patterns, so to speak, to create something else. So I brought out a couple of things that are just, I was toying with wearing today, so I'll show you those. But then the other few items I wanted to talk about for those other reasons too. So I think I've shown you that this very simple top can be worn a bunch of different ways. You could make it shorter too. You could make it a waist length top. You could make it something that tucks in. So anything from a shorter top to a tunic to even a dress. This is a pattern that could do any of those things. This one is made in Be So Fine yarn. I know some people have converted it to sport weight yarn to do it in Be So Sporty as well, but just to even go back one step to say that it's made in Be So Fine yarn, that's a #1 fingering weight yarn, which means any of my other #1 fingering weight yarns would be completely seamless for yarn substitution. So if you wanted to make this dressier in Be So Fine Bling, or maybe make it a little more casual in Be So Lush, you could substitute either of those yarns for the same exact look. You'll just want to pay attention to the yardage, because any of the bling yarns have slightly less yardage than the bamboo without the silver thread, because the silver is a little bit heavy. So to keep it the same weight, it does adjust the yardage. So when you're substituting, anytime you're substituting yarn, you always want to pay attention to what the yardage is of the original yarn and the yardage is of the substituting yarn. And I would be more than happy to talk more about that if anyone has any questions. So I will pause for a second. And thank you, Judy, for sharing links to everything that I'm talking about. Hi, Lily. Hi, Dorothy. But I'll wait and see if anyone has any quick questions about yarn substitution before we move on. Good morning, Sunshine. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned I'm wearing the Kelly Crochet earrings today. These particular ones are made in Be So Fine Bling yarn. And the original pattern was done in Be So Fine yarn. So very easy substitution to substitute a #1 fingering weight yarn with another #1 fingering weight yarn. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Jill. All right, I don't see any questions on yarn substitution, so I do want to talk about a couple of other patterns this morning. Oh, well, I did bring out one other top that I thought would have been, this is the other one that I almost wore today, and that is the Sweet Clara cardigan, so I'll try that on really quickly. And I started working on a sleeveless Sweet Clara cardigan, so I guess it'll be the vest version of it, and I only made it through the yoke so far, so I don't have a ton of work left to do, but I do have to get to it. And I did mine in Caribbean turquoise, so I'm super excited to finish it. But in the meantime, this is the Sweet Clara cardigan with the long sleeves, or the 3/4 sleeves. So I just wanted to show you, this was my other option of putting on today. So I ended up going with the mesh berry, but this was the other one I almost put on, so I may as well try them both on. And this one, again, has so many options. You could make this, you know, full length. You could make it duster length. You could make it this length. You could make it cropped. You could do any sort of changes in the length on this one. Make it as long as you want, and the sleeves as well. So I made this one with 3/4 length sleeves. You could obviously go full length sleeves as well. And the other version that I'm making right now, because it's a top-down raglan, I could skip putting sleeves on it all together, which I am with the other one. I forgot to bring it out this morning. but I could make it cap sleeve as well, which I think is definitely a little more casual. I'm making that one in Be So Sporty yarn Caribbean turquoise, and this one I made with Be So Sporty bling yarn. So I feel like this one's a little dressier, which is great, and the other one will be a little more casual. I foresee wearing the sleeveless one like with jeans and a t-shirt or white shorts and a tank top. And I'm probably going to make that one a little shorter than this one too, just to be a little on the sportier side. This is Be So Sporty Bling in colorway Midnight. I don't know if I have this color in stock right now, but I have another really beautiful dark color in stock that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's indigo. Is the Meshberry top in one of my pattern books? No, it is a pattern on my website. All of the patterns I'm talking about this morning have already been listed, linked in the video description and in the comments. So you can find anything I'm talking about today if you scroll down to the video description or the top of the fixed comments. I have them all listed there. All right, does anybody have any other questions about the Sweet Clara cardigan? And as you know, we've done Sweet Clara as a pullover, we've done it as the cap sleeve pullover, a long sleeve pullover, and we've even done it as a dress too. So there's lots of ways to convert a stitch pattern into so many other types of projects. I think I've done picture frames out of this stitch pattern too. So many fun things. Make a great cowl. And that's another thing. Sometimes, you know, when you buy a pattern from me, you get so many components, right? You get the written instructions, you get all the sizes, you get all the charts. Once you have it, you can use those items for other things. So let's say you wanted to modify the pattern to make the sleeves longer or shorter. Modify the length of the body to make it longer or shorter, or use any of those charts to make something else. A chart that has raglan shaping, you could make a top-down triangle shawl with. A chart that's worked in the round, you can make a cowl with, or a hat. And a chart that is worked at written in even in rows, you can make an afghan or a scarf or a shawl or a rectangular shawl. So there's so many components that come with my patterns that you could really take any of those components and separate them out from the pattern to do so many other things as well. Or pull out an edging or pull out some sort of trim or some other thing. There's just so many components that you can mix and match and use. And I know many of you have. Many of you have pulled out components of my patterns and used them for something else. And I love seeing that because that's experimenting, and that's how another way that we are able to express our creativity. Oh, thanks, Dorothy. Yeah, they're all pretty colors. Caribbean turquoise and Bahama blue. They're both really pretty light watercolors. I don't think you'd be disappointed with either one. I agree. Does anybody have any other questions about Sweet Clara cardigan? Otherwise, I will move on to something else. The next piece that I want to show you is a pattern that I just converted to a digital pattern. It was a print pattern, so it's now $1.99 instead of $2.99. And this is one that's at the top of my list for making videos for, because, and I'm so excited to make the videos for this one because it is an incredibly simple concept and some people are stumped on the pattern. So I'm really excited to empower those people with the video tutorials. This is the Blue Danube knit lace cardi vest. I guess I better show you the construction before I start styling it. So you can find this pattern in my knitting pattern shop. It's a digital download for $1.99. It includes charts and written instructions. It is a rectangle with two glorified giant buttonholes where it works side to side, and you bind off and recast on for the two giant holes. And once you have those holes, you can use them as armholes. And so now we've got this draped cardi vest that you can wear open and long like this. But because the yarn is so drapey, there's a couple of other things that we can do, including tying it in the front. And I love how fitted that looks. And doesn't it look like that's a fitted garment? It does not look like it was made from just a simple rectangle. But what's so amazing is that when you work with really fine weight and drapey yarns, you have so many other draping possibilities when it comes to styling. Another way that you can do this is to take two pieces right here and gently tie those together. This is called the Blue Danube Knit Lace Vest Pattern. I've put a link in the video description and in the fixed comments. Look at, I tied a tiny little knot, real gentle, in the yarn there, and then there's another way for it to look like a fitted vest as well. With just a different type of, because of where we're placing the knot, whether it's here or here, we're adjusting the hemline, so the hemline either looks straight across or it looked more like a handkerchief hem. I should probably do it twice now so you can see. So there's a straighter across hem when we tie it from the corners, and then when I tie it from the edge up here, notice how we start getting more of a handkerchief hem at the bottom. Does everybody know what a handkerchief hem? It's where the hemline kind of has some corners to it, where it dips down. See that? Not quite a handkerchief, but kind of. So both of those are options. Then the other things that you can still do, tying it or belting it is still a possibility. And anytime we add a belt to something, we have the ability to blouse it up then too. So you could wear it like this. Now we have more of a handkerchief hem, or you could even blouse it up from there. And I've done videos before where we've gone all across the board with doing so many different ways of blousing this up and so many different ways of styling it. You can turn it upside down, all sorts, and make a collar. What else? If you have, I can't find one of my butterfly clips right now, but a butterfly clip would be really great for securing it as well if you didn't want to wear the belt. And again, wearing it loose and low, right? Now, because it's a rectangle, you can skip those armholes as well. And then you have a shawl or a wrap or a really big scarf that you can wrap around a couple of times and drape. This would be a great time to add the butterfly clip as well, because if you drape this a couple of times, you know how we've done this before, and then kind of just like put that butterfly clip there, wouldn't that be super cute too? So lots of ways to do this. And this is a really simple stitch pattern. I think it's a 4-row stitch pattern, so super easy to memorize. Isn't that pretty? It works side to side. And I have a link in the video description for the pattern, and then keep in mind that it's made in Be So Fine yarn in colorway Blue Danube. It would be great in any color, number one, but how about switching it up and doing it for evening in Be So Fine bling yarn? That would be amazing. Or make it in Be So Lush yarn. Also buttery soft, that's the bamboo and cotton blended together. Just pay attention to the yardage and make sure you order enough yarn if the yardage is different in any yarn that you're substituting with. This is a 2-ball project in Be So Fine yarn. Super pretty. And then, all right, I'll wait a second now, see if there's any questions. Thanks for all the links, Judy, and the links that Judy is sharing. If you don't catch them in the live chat, remember I've already put all of these links in the video description and in the fixed comments as well, so you can always come back later and check all that out. I've got links for all the patterns that I've talked about, and on any of those pattern pages, the yarns are all listed as well. So any of the yarns that they're made with, as well as the yarns that I've suggested. And that goes for the earrings, as well as all of the knit and crochet patterns I've showed you today. So I did promise you recently that I was working on some new summery tops, and I did start a crochet one yesterday. Do you want to see it? I'm not sure like where it's going right now. I might be starting over. Thanks, Juanita. Yeah, you do want to see it. Okay, I'll be right back. It's just inside the door. All right, so I said they were going to be simple, and then I ended up doing a Delta flower, and I'm like, well, that's not exactly simple. And so now I've been like sitting here chastising myself while crocheting the top, going, this isn't what you planned, you should do something else. And so I started with a delta flower for the neck edge up here, and then switched to simple double crochet for the band below it. And now I can't decide if I want to stick with double crochet, alternate stripes of the delta stitch and double crochet, or add in a third pattern to stripe with the double crochet for the lower body. I really like the idea of the delta stitch just being along the top and framing the face and the shoulders. So if I add a second stitch here, I think it'll be something simpler, like some sort of a mesh or an open work stitch to alternate with the bands of double crochet. And it's going to be a little bit oversized, so it's going to be a rectangle, it's just going to be a rectangle type top. So this is the top of the rectangle, and I'll just work it even to the bottom and then make an identical piece for the back and sew them together at the shoulders and sew them together under the armholes. So it'll be super, super easy, great beginner style construction, but now I'm just questioning whether I should have used delta stitch if I'm wanting to promote this as a beginner style project. So I do love it though, and it doesn't mean we can't do another more simple top after this, but I really love the delta stitch for the framing at the top. What do you guys think? Do you like it? I think I see some yeses. Yeah, and it's not like the delta stitch isn't going to come with written instructions and charts and video tutorials. So I think it'll be okay, and it's not like it's the only pattern I'm going to make. So this is Be So Sporty yarn in colorway Fern Forest, by the way, if anybody is interested. Look at that drape, already so drapey. So yeah, so I think I'll keep the delta flower for the top, and then I'm going to do bands of double crochet. Like, I think this, how many rows do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 rows of double crochet, so I'll do something else for that amount of space for the next stripe, and I'll alternate stripes of a different stitch pattern with double crochet. Just to keep it a little bit interesting. I think, you know, 20 inches of double crochet might be a little too simple. So we'll switch it up a little bit. Thank you, Carrie. What's the name of the pattern? It has not been named yet. It's nowhere near done yet. I'm sorry, Sharon. Yeah, so I'll give you some updates as we go, and hopefully I'll have this as a new pattern pretty soon. It is pretty. I love it too. I think it's going to look so pretty along the top edge. And I made this one a little larger. Instead of using a double treble, I went 1 wrap larger. This is yarn over 4 times, so this is done with a triple treble. But like I said, there'll be videos for it. You'll be fine. We'll be fine. Okay, so the next 2 things I wanted to show you are these are 2 knit lace shawl patterns that I have just recently converted to, that's Be So Sporty yarn in colorway Fern Forest, Julie. The next 2 patterns I want to show you are existing shawl patterns that I have on my website that I've just converted from $2.99 print patterns to $1.99 digital download patterns, and they come with, one of them comes with charts. I don't think the other one does, but there are video tutorials for them as well here on my YouTube channel. And what I wanted to show you about these is how I'm looking at these shawls and thinking in my head what I could change and what I could manipulate to turn this concept into a top. And I'm doing this for 2 reasons. First of all, sharing behind the scenes with you, which is always fun, but also helping you to see my point of view, and maybe you'll have shawl patterns at home that you love, whether it's mine or anything else, and maybe you can see that how you could take what you have in that pattern and apply it to something else. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the Bonita Beach knit lace shawl pattern. How gorgeous is this? This is the very first pattern I ever made in Be So Fine Yarn when I first started my yarn company. And to this day, it's still one of my favorites. I love how light and drapey it is. It's a half circle shawl. It's worked from the top down with elongated twisted stitches that give you that open air work in between some chevrons. It is not difficult to make. It's relatively quick to work up because of the elongated drop stitches. And it's one ball of Be So Fine yarn. This is colorway crushed berries, but you know, there's all sorts of colors to choose from. You could also easily do this in Be So Lush yarn or Be So Fine bling. Be So Fine bling would be great to make this for evening, wouldn't it? So pretty. Oh, Thea's going to make it in Be So Fine bling. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be gorgeous. So it is amazing as a shawl, right? You can wear it and drape it so many different ways. Now, a couple things I wanted to mention. If you made 2 of these, you could make a poncho that would be out of this world, even a cold shoulder poncho. So let's say that you attached, say you made 2 and you attached it at the shoulder here and then attached it at the edge here. You'd have the arm completely open. That would be amazing. Or you could sew all down the front and all down that whole side, and it would be just an over the shoulder, you know, just throw over your head poncho. How beautiful would that be to wear over a slim fitting dress? I mean, that's just gorgeous, right? Imagine if that was on both sides. It's incredibly flattering. The half circle shape and the scallops are extremely flattering along the lower edge. The length is flattering. The waves are flattering, and the light drapiness to the pattern, to the fabric, is super flattering too. So pretty. But now, okay, so I talked about making 2 and making into a poncho. That's a pretty easy modification, right? So now what I'm thinking about is how would I change this pattern to make it an A-shaped tank top? So what I'm looking at now is where would I work the pattern to create my neck edge? And then how would I increase the pattern if I wanted to eliminate all this and just make it an A-line? And imagine this now. See if I can tuck it in at the shoulders to give you an idea. Imagine if that was a tank top, like an A-line drapey tank top. Wouldn't that be gorgeous, right? So I'm thinking of different ways that I can mathematically convert this pattern. What yarn was Fern Forest? This yarn was Fern Forest. This one right here. This is Be So Sporty yarn in colorway Fern Forest. So this is not about, this is a completely different pattern, but I'm sitting here looking at the rate of increase and the drapiness and the gauge and going, okay, well, if I worked that half circle at the top, did top down shaping from here to here till that row, that would work for my neck. And then if I continued on in shaping from there, it's possible that I could make something that went like that instead of something that went like that. So definitely more math to figure out, but it's a starting off place for me to figure out how I would create a completely different shape with this type of stitch pattern, and probably need to modify the rate of increase and stuff, but I just thought it would be interesting to show you that that's something that you can do if you're willing to work on the math part of it. And then the other one that I think would be amazing as a summer tank top is the Razor Shell Shawl. I love this one too. This is in Be So Fine yarn in colorway $1 Million Red. And this is also a 1-ball project in Be So Fine yarn. You could also do it in Be So Fine bling or Be So Lush yarn or Be So Fine. It starts at the bottom with the ruffle, and then it's made with decreases all the way up to the edge to create this half circle. Now, the first things we talked about, okay, and these patterns are both now single digital download patterns for only $1.99 on my website. 1-ball shawls in Be So Fine yarn. They used to be $2.99 for print patterns, but I'm converting all that. So this is a beautiful shawl, has charts with the line-by-line instructions, and I believe there's a video tutorial for it as well. If I'm wrong, please correct me and I'll add it to the list of things that I need to make videos of. But I wanted to show you a couple of things. First of all, to make 2 of these and make a poncho, no-brainer, right? How gorgeous would this be as a poncho? Again, because it's a shawl that's half circle and not triangle, you know how I feel about the triangles pointing down here and on the bum. I don't think that's very flattering. But when you deal with scallops and half circles, now you're talking a beautiful shaped poncho. How beautiful is that if you made 2 of them and sewed them along the shoulder seams? The top edge of the shawl, which together would be the shoulder seams then. I think that would be stunning. But then the next thing that I was thinking about is how I could convert this mathematically into a tank top. So imagine if I made it only that wide at the top. Imagine this as a tank top now. I mean, I could wear that every day of my life and not get tired of it. What about you? Is that flattering or what? Between the ruffle and the scalloped edge and the vertical stripes, and all the vertical stripes end up coming straight up to top center at the neck and just like pointing up to the face. I think that this is such a geometrically figure flattering look for a tank top, and the drape of the yarn, like, oh my gosh. So there's a couple of the behind the scene things that I'm interested in taking these patterns and, you know, doing something different with them. But in the meantime, if you love them as shawls, they are available for sale right now for $1.99 instant download, and all the yarns are available too. Or if you want to make 2 of any one of these and make incredible ponchos. I mean, I know ponchos have gotten a bad rap over the years because they're bulky and they cover up too much and they make you look giant. But you make ponchos with drapey, lightweight yarns and beautiful lace, and you are talking a whole new level of poncho. I mean, that is flattering to the nth degree in my opinion. Just should be a different name altogether, right? If poncho has a negative connotation, then we need another name, because it's just so flattering to make lacy ponchos. Like, remember the the little hickory cape I showed the other day? If that was in a bulky yarn, it would be bulky on me, but it was so drapey and feminine because of the lightweight drapey yarn. Does anybody have any questions? I know I talked about a lot today, but I had a lot of ideas I wanted to share with you. Yeah, that's exactly it, Jill. I mean, sometimes an individual pattern can be a starting point for a new pattern. Absolutely. Thanks, Gunn. Oh, I'm glad you like my ideas for the ponchos. Yes, they could be cold shoulder tops if you joined here and left part of the arm open, or you could sew all the way down. And yeah, ponchos were big in the 70s, but I feel like there is a time and a place for them again with different yarn and a different drapey look. I think they are extremely flattering if done in the right type of yarn and the right type of stitches. I think they can be absolutely stunning and not dated at all. Does anybody have any questions? And remember, everything we talked about today, I've already put links in the video description and in the comments. So if you need any help finding anything, always feel welcome to leave a comment as well, and I can help you. Substituting a thicker yarn equals less yarn generally. Well, it means less yardage, but not less weight. See, the thing is, if a ball of yarn weighs 4 ounces, but it's thicker, there's less yardage, and if it's thinner, there's more yardage, but it's still the same amount of yarn, it's still the same weight. It's just about how far it will go and how bulky it will be. Does anybody have any other questions? I think I'm gonna put my meshberry top back on today. And my belt. Wait and see if there's any other. Oh, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I'm excited about the mystery crochet along. Remember, I've given everybody plenty of time now to download your get the pattern downloaded to start and to order your yarn. I know there's a lot of comments about making sure that I gave people enough time to buy their yarn. So instead of starting it this coming Monday, I'm starting it the following Monday, June 15th, and I will do 2. And so when the mystery crochet along starts, there'll be a component of the pattern that is released along with a video tutorial for that component on the same day, and we'll do that twice in the first week, then twice in the next week, and then a final episode, a final download and a final video on the third week. If you're a beginner with crocheting or knitting, what should you start with? Starting with something small is always a great idea, or starting with something that doesn't have a whole lot of shaping is a great place to start. So making a scarf or a rectangular shawl or maybe even an afghan. Anything that you get practice with is a great place to start. So if you start with something simple like an afghan but get lots of hours practicing it, that's actually a really great way to get started. I've taught people how to crochet with afghans many times before, because once they get started and get established in the pattern, it's very great practice. But it depends on your taste and where you're at and what you want to learn. Sometimes it's just about finding a pattern that speaks to your heart. And when you find something that you say, I cannot live without this item, you have that extra drive and incentive to learn. And I feel like when we're excited about learning, we learn at a much easier pace, a much quicker pace as well. So it's up to you, but I would listen to your heart and listen to what you're most excited about making, and that's usually the right place to start. Great questions today, everybody. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with me. I hope you enjoyed my show and tell and all the other things that we talked about and we shared. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow. Same time,